Independence Day, July 4th. Front page news is about Donald Trump's speech at Mount Rushmore. Pretty much a campaign speech, not really an effort to bring the country together, but to vilify the left and to make sure everybody knows how dangerous those people are and that we need to be protected against those left-wing Nazis. I don't know. Fascists was the word that he used. Kind of doesn't fit with my political understanding, but what's what's surprising about it is not that this is a tactic that Trump is using. Um, had a nice conversation with Jason, a buddy of mine, Thursday night. One of the things he pointed out, he'd seen a documentary about the history of Donald Trump's life, and that one of his uh, kind of operating principles, his modus operandi, is that when things get bad, make it worse. And things are looking pretty bad for him. So he's going to make it worse by increasing the polarities. And he's doing that by describing those he perceives to be his enemies in ways that are not at all what other people would say this is not what we're about. And we see this all the time in politics. We describe the other in ways that the other says, that's not who I am. The thing is, this is not just something we do in politics. This is something we do in our interpersonal relationships pretty commonly when we're in the midst of a conflict, when we're struggling about something that's important to us. We will say, oh, well, you think that, and then we say something ridiculous that, of course, we know the other person doesn't think, but then they're busy trying to be defensive, and so now we have an edge. Because what we're trying to do is to make the other person lose so that we win. Part of what I want to be very clear about here is that when we see the world through systems, when we think through the lens of wisdom rather than common sense, we don't win by making people lose. We win by creating a different dynamic within the system such that everybody wins, because we are all tied up in the same matrix of being. And so my well-being is dependent upon yours. The question becomes, how can I change me in a way that creates more of what I need such that you get more of what you need? That requires that I'm able to define the system, the problem, the dynamic in such a way that is both accurate, it's truthful, and it's helpful. There are lots of things that are true that aren't helpful. But when I can understand what's really going on, because if my definition of what's happening doesn't match reality, there's no way it's going to be helpful. But of all of the things that are true, and there are lots of ways of defining a situation that are valid perspectives, of all of those, which are the ones, or which one in particular is the one that when I approach it from this perspective, now I have the power to do something positively transformative in that situation. That's the one we want to look for. What is true and helpful. And then we speak that, maybe in words, more likely in action, into the situation in such a way that we tend to bend the system into a healthier way of functioning. Oh yeah, that's really hard to do, but it really works. So let's work on it. All right. Hope you have a great and safe weekend.